Hi there, welcome to NP₃, the National Parks Photography Program. I'm Danilo, your host, and this is episode 1. It's our introductory episode. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to be talking to you about photography, about national parks. We'll probably get into some sort of tangentially related topics from time to time, but that's going to be the primary focus of the channel, or at least that's the goal from the outset. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun and pretty laid back. Don't take any of this too serious, but it's good stuff, and it's what I'm passionate about, and I know what a lot of you are passionate about, so we'll have a good time. A bit about myself. My name is Dan. I go by Danilo for art purposes. It goes back to when I was a student at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and got that nickname then and started signing my artwork Danilo and have sort of stuck with that. And as I said, I went to the University of Wisconsin Green Bay for school. I was actually a sort of a graphic design. It was called communication in the arts, but graphic design major. And then I had a minor in two-dimensional art, which put me through all of the photography programs that they offered there. And then as I got into the workplace, I really started getting more and more into photography, and that became a more central, sort of core part of myself. And as time progressed, just recently I took a position still at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, but now I'm the university videographer and photographer, so that's really exciting to me to be doing this sort of stuff full time. This channel isn't about general photography, it's about the national parks. And I've loved the parks since I was a kid. My parents were both teachers, and so we had summers where we had the ability to travel a lot. And some of those trips were out west to national parks. I know we hit the Grand Canyon, the Badlands, the whole Black Hills, South Dakota area. We also did some trips east, hit Shenandoah there, but also a lot of the historic sites. I remember going to Valley Forge. I was real little and being scared that I was going to see bloody footprints. So all of these sites, parks and sites that encompass the National Park Service, have great interest to me going way back to when I was just a kid. And then as an adult after school, I took a trip out west just for fun. I wasn't really thinking that the national parks are going to become such a big deal to me, but I took a trip with a friend of mine out to Arches National Park, and we hit a few sites along the way. But I remember going up at dawn, up the trail to Delicate Arch, and sitting there and experiencing that, and the photography, taking pictures in these beautiful places, and that's when I really fell in love. And so, geez, that was probably over 10 years ago now. And so I've been doing my best to hit as many national park sites in that 10 years as I can. And to date, I think I'm around getting close to 40 of the national parks. There's 59, and I think I'm sort of in the upper 30s. It's been a while since I've counted. And there's just over 400 national park sites if you include the battlefields and historic sites and monuments and things like that. And I think now I've been to about 135, 140, maybe even a little more than that. I have one of those passport books that you can stamp and keep track of all the parks you've been to, so that's a fun thing that I enjoy. And then with the photography end of that, I started really, that's sort of my my personal passion is the landscape photography, in particular of the national parks. I like all forms of photography. At work, I do event photography and portraiture and studio stuff, things like that, as well as a lot of the videography. But sort of on my own time, what I like to do is get out in nature and take, or even in the historic sites in these really important places, the best parts of our country, and photograph these and document those from my own personal view and try to, through the photos, tell those stories of what I experience in these places, because it's such a great love of mine. That led to eventually getting up the guts to start entering some shows. The first thing I did was there's a small gallery here I live in Green Bay, and there's a small gallery downtown that I talked to the person who was running that and did sort of a small month-long show there, which was really rewarding, and kind of got my feet wet in actually taking that next step to displaying my work. And then from there, there's some sort of regional, pretty nice regional art fairs that go on every year. Art Street in Green Bay, Art at the Park in Appleton. I've branched out a little bit from that. I did Powderhorn Art Fair in Minneapolis, but kind of Midwestern regional art fairs that attract national artists, but are within driving distance for me, so I can make these a doable weekend show, and that's been really rewarding. Setting up my booth and setting up the artwork in there, and it's just kind of neat to see. You take all this time to make art, and then to have the chance to make big prints like this one behind me, and to really show the work that I've put so much time into is very rewarding. And I've been very fortunate to win a couple of awards at those shows, which is something I'm really proud of. And it's really neat to see people who not only take the time to visit and look at your art, but actually sort of give it that stamp of approval. So that's kind of my background, and in with the parks. With this channel, I'm sort of hoping to take that love of the parks to a new level, a new medium. I think it's just going to be a fun place to have a conversation with you about photography and the parks, and this sort of shared, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in it too, so you kind of have that shared love of the parks. My plan is to do some videos that are sort of overviews of parks. I don't want these to be real long videos, so every park is a big place, and has, even if it's just a house, there's a lot to it, that more than you can cover in a sort of 10 or 15 minute video. But it'll be nice to sort of share my overview of the park, the sort of things I'm looking for in each park site, and hopefully it be sort of a landing spot for you if you're thinking of traveling to one of these parks and want to do some photography there. What are some of the sort of considerations you need to be aware of before you get to the park? With those, I'm hoping to do some videos where I feature one of my photographs, sort of my best photograph from a park, and talk about specifically what I was thinking when I took that, the composition, the gear I used for that, the post-processing I did with that, and it's sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. Instead of a broad overview of a park, it's just sort of a very focused look at one image and one view, and then how that might get taken into being a finished piece of art. Then third, I'll want to talk about just some fun topics. I'm a big fan of lists, so I'm going to try to make some fun top 5, top 10 lists based on the parks and experiences I've had. And hopefully there'll be time to just have some talks about sort of general topics just of interest to people who are into photography and into the parks. It should be fun. And then finally, some gear sort of discussions. This isn't going to be one of those channels where every other video is a review of the latest and greatest camera or gadget from this company and that company. But the things that I use personally, that I really enjoy and feel I benefit from, and that I think there might be some value in sharing with you, I'll do some reviews on those, because I like gear, and it's one of the fun parts of photography, and it is something I want to talk about. So that's the goals for this channel, and it should be fun, and with feedback from you guys, hopefully I can be more responsive, and it'll grow and evolve over time. But it should be a really great chance for me to sort of share this passion of mine, and hopefully it's a great chance for you to learn something and interact with some people who have shared interests. So if you like this, give it the thumbs up, And if you want to see the new videos as they come along, click on the subscribe button below. The next video that I'm working on is our first park overview. It will be Olympic National Park. I had the chance to visit there with my wife just over a year ago for a couple of days, so I decided that'll be a good one to get into doing those park reviews. And until then, have a great day. Goodbye.